Written by renowned economist Thomas Sowell, this book provides a clear and concise explanation of the principles of economics and how they affect our daily lives. Sowell presents a common-sense approach to economics, making it accessible to anyone, regardless of their educational background or level of expertise. In this book, Sowell takes readers through the various aspects of economics, including markets, government intervention, international trade, inflation, taxation, labor markets, economic inequality, and more. He provides real-life examples and case studies to illustrate how economic principles work in practice. The book is not only informative, but also highly practical. Sowell shows how individuals can apply economic principles to their personal finances and investments and make better decisions as a result. Whether you are a student, a professional, or simply interested in learning more about the economy, Basic Economics is an essential resource that will help you make sense of the complex world of economics. Chapter 1: Introduction to Economics, What It Is and Why It Matters. In the first chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell introduces the field of economics and explains its importance in society. He defines economics as the study of how scarce resources are allocated among competing uses. This includes the production and distribution of goods and services, the allocation of labor and capital, and the determination of prices and wages. Sowell explains that economics is important because it helps us understand how the world works. It enables us to make informed decisions about how to allocate our own resources, and it informs public policy decisions about how to allocate society's resources. He emphasizes that economics is not just about money, but also about the production and distribution of all goods and services, including food, housing, healthcare, and education. Sowell also discusses the role of incentives in economics. He explains that incentives are the rewards and penalties that influence people's behavior. Incentives are crucial in economics because they drive the decisions that people make. For example, if the price of a product goes up, people are likely to buy less of it, and if the price of a product goes down, people are likely to buy more of it. Overall, the first chapter of Basic Economics sets the foundation for understanding the rest of the book. Sowell explains what economics is and why it matters, and he introduces key concepts like scarcity and incentives that will be explored in greater depth in the following chapters. Chapter 2: How Markets Work, Supply and Demand. In the second chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell explains how markets work through the interaction of supply and demand. He defines supply as the quantity of a good or service that producers are willing to sell at a given price, and demand as the quantity of a good or service that consumers are willing to buy at a given price. Sowell emphasizes that markets are dynamic and constantly changing, with supply and demand adjusting to changes in consumer preferences, technology, and resource availability. He illustrates this point with real-life examples, such as the rise and fall of the housing market and the fluctuations in the price of oil. Sowell also discusses the concept of market equilibrium, which occurs when the quantity of a good or service supplied equals the quantity demanded at a particular price. He explains that market equilibrium is an efficient outcome because it maximizes the benefits of both producers and consumers. However, Sowell acknowledges that markets are not always perfect, and that external factors like government intervention or market power can distort the natural equilibrium. He provides examples of price controls, minimum wage laws, and monopolies, which can lead to market inefficiencies and reduce social welfare. Overall, the second chapter of Basic Economics provides a clear and intuitive explanation of how markets work and the role of supply and demand in determining prices and quantities. Sowell emphasizes the importance of market efficiency and the potential pitfalls of government intervention, setting the stage for later chapters that explore these issues in more detail. Chapter 3: Prices and the Free Market, the Role of Profit and Loss. In the third chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell discusses the role of prices in the free market and how they are determined by the forces of supply and demand. He emphasizes that prices play a critical role in the economy by providing information about scarcity, cost, and value. Sowell explains that prices are set by the market through the process of competition. Producers who can offer a good or service at a lower cost than their competitors can charge a lower price and attract more customers, while those who cannot offer a good or service at a competitive price will lose business. Sowell emphasizes that profit and loss are the ultimate determinants of success in the market. Profit signals that a producer is meeting the needs of consumers by providing a good or service at a lower cost than competitors, while loss signals that a producer is not meeting those needs and may need to adjust their business model or exit the market. Sowell also discusses the role of entrepreneurship in the market and how entrepreneurs use their skills to identify opportunities for profit and develop innovative products and services that meet the needs of consumers. Finally, Sowell explores the concept of price discrimination, in which producers charge different prices to different consumers for the same good or service. He explains that price discrimination can be a rational strategy for producers to capture additional revenue from consumers who are willing to pay more, but it can also create inefficiencies and reduce consumer welfare. Overall, the third chapter of Basic Economics provides a comprehensive overview of the role of prices in the free market and how they are determined by competition and the forces of supply and demand. Sowell emphasizes the importance of profit and loss as signals of success and failure in the market, and the role of entrepreneurship in driving innovation and growth. Chapter 4, Government Intervention in Markets, Price Controls and Subsidies. In the fourth chapter, Sowell explores the role of government intervention in markets, specifically through the use of price controls and subsidies. He explains that while government intervention may be well-intentioned, it can have unintended consequences and often leads to market inefficiencies. Sowell starts by discussing price ceilings, which are government-imposed limits on how much a producer can charge for a good or service. He explains that price ceilings often lead to shortages, as producers are unable or unwilling to supply as much of the good or service at the lower price. Sowell provides real-life examples of price ceilings, such as rent control laws and price controls on essential goods during times of crisis, and illustrates how they have led to shortages and reduced quality. Sowell then explores price floors, which are government-imposed minimum prices for a good or service. He explains that price floors often lead to surpluses, as producers are incentivized to supply more of the good or service than consumers are willing to buy at the higher price. Sowell provides examples of price floors, such as minimum wage laws and agricultural price supports, and illustrates how they have led to surpluses and reduced efficiency. Finally, Sowell discusses subsidies, which are payments from the government to producers or consumers of a good or service. He explains that subsidies can have positive effects, such as promoting the production of public goods, but they can also create inefficiencies and distort the market. Sowell provides examples of subsidies, such as farm subsidies and subsidies for renewable energy, and illustrates how they can lead to overproduction and reduced efficiency. Overall, the fourth chapter of Basic Economics provides a clear and comprehensive analysis of the effects of government intervention in markets through the use of price controls and subsidies. Sowell emphasizes the unintended consequences of such intervention and illustrates how it can lead to market inefficiencies and reduce social welfare. Chapter 5, International Trade, the Benefits and Costs of Globalization. In the fifth chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell explores the topic of international trade and globalization. He emphasizes the importance of trade in promoting economic growth and the benefits and costs of globalization. Sowell starts by discussing the principle of comparative advantage, which states that countries can benefit from trade by specializing in the production of goods and services that they can produce at a lower cost than other countries. He provides real-life examples of comparative advantage, such as the production of coffee in Colombia and the production of cars in Japan, and illustrates how trade can lead to increased efficiency and growth. Sowell then discusses the effects of globalization on wages and employment. He explains that while globalization can lead to increased competition and job loss in some industries, it can also lead to increased innovation and growth in others. Sowell provides real-life examples of the effects of globalization on wages and employment, such as the outsourcing of manufacturing jobs to China and the growth of the technology industry in the United States. Finally, Sowell explores the effects of globalization on the environment and on social welfare. He explains that while globalization can lead to increased efficiency and economic growth, it can also create negative externalities, such as pollution and exploitation. Sowell provides real-life examples of the effects of globalization on the environment and social welfare, such as the environmental impact of increased trade and the exploitation of workers in developing countries. Overall, the fifth chapter of Basic Economics provides a comprehensive analysis of the benefits and costs of international trade and globalization. Sowell emphasizes the importance of comparative advantage and specialization in promoting economic growth, while also acknowledging the potential negative externalities of globalization. Chapter 6, The Business Cycle, Economic Growth and Recession. In the sixth chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell explores the topic of the business cycle and the patterns of economic growth and recession that characterize modern economies. He explains the factors that contribute to economic growth, as well as the causes and effects of recessions. Sowell starts by discussing the factors that contribute to economic growth, such as technological innovation, capital accumulation, and entrepreneurship. He explains that these factors can lead to increased productivity and increased economic output. Sowell then explores the patterns of economic growth and recession and the potential causes of recessions, such as changes in consumer spending, fluctuations in investment, and shocks to the global economy. Sowell also discusses the potential effects of recessions, such as increased unemployment, decreased consumer spending, and decreased economic output. He explains that recessions can have negative effects on both individuals and businesses, and that government intervention may be necessary to address them. Finally, Sowell explores the potential policies that can be used to address recessions, such as monetary policy and fiscal policy. He emphasizes the importance of balancing the benefits and drawbacks of government intervention and understanding the potential unintended consequences of policy decisions. Overall, the sixth chapter of Basic Economics provides a clear and comprehensive analysis of the business cycle and the patterns of economic growth and recession. Sowell emphasizes the importance of understanding the factors that contribute to economic growth and the potential causes and effects of recessions. Chapter 7, Money and Banking. How the financial system works. In the seventh chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell explores the topic of money and banking and how the financial system works. He explains the functions of money, the role of banks, and the potential risks and benefits of financial intermediation. Sowell starts by defining money as a medium of exchange and explaining the functions of money, such as facilitating trade and reducing transaction costs. He also explores the different types of money, such as fiat money and commodity money. Sowell then discusses the role of banks in the financial system and the potential risks and benefits of financial intermediation. He explains that banks serve as intermediaries between savers and borrowers, and that they can create money through the process of fractional reserve banking. Sowell also explores the potential risks of banking, such as bank runs and financial crises, and the potential policies that can be used to address them, such as deposit insurance and lender of last resort. Finally, Sowell discusses the potential benefits of financial intermediation, such as increased investment and economic growth, as well as the potential drawbacks, such as increased inequality and financial instability. Overall, the seventh chapter of Basic Economics provides a clear and comprehensive analysis of money and banking and the role of financial intermediation in the economy. Sowell emphasizes the importance of understanding the potential risks and benefits of financial intermediation and the potential policies that can be used to address them. Chapter 8, Inflation and Deflation, the Rise and Fall of Prices. In the eighth chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell explores the topic of inflation and deflation and the impact of price fluctuations on the economy. He explains the causes and effects of inflation and deflation, as well as the potential policies that can be used to address them. Sowell starts by defining inflation as a sustained increase in the general price level and deflation as a sustained decrease in the general price level. He explains that inflation and deflation can have significant effects on the economy, such as decreased purchasing power and increased uncertainty. Sowell then discusses the potential causes of inflation and deflation, such as changes in the money supply, changes in aggregate demand, and changes in productivity. He also explores the potential effects of inflation and deflation, such as increased uncertainty and decreased investment. Sowell also discusses the potential policies that can be used to address inflation and deflation, such as monetary policy and fiscal policy. He explains that central banks can use monetary policy tools, such as adjusting interest rates and changing the money supply, to address inflation and deflation. He also explores the potential drawbacks and unintended consequences of monetary policy, such as the potential for inflation targeting to lead to economic instability. Sowell also discusses the potential role of fiscal policy, such as government spending and taxation, in addressing inflation and deflation. He explains that fiscal policy can be used to address demand-side shocks that lead to inflation or deflation, but that it can also create unintended consequences, such as increased government debt and reduced economic growth. Finally, Sowell emphasizes the importance of understanding the potential effects of inflation and deflation on the economy and the potential benefits and drawbacks of government intervention. He argues that a balanced approach, taking into account both short-term and long-term effects, is necessary for effective policy decisions. Overall, the eighth chapter of Basic Economics provides a clear and comprehensive analysis of inflation and deflation, and the potential policies that can be used to address them. Sowell emphasizes the importance of understanding the causes and effects of price fluctuations and the potential unintended consequences of government intervention in the economy. Chapter 9, Taxation and Government Spending, the Impact on the Economy. In the ninth chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell explores the topic of taxation and government spending and the impact of government policy on the economy. He explains the potential effects of taxation and government spending on economic growth and the potential policies that can be used to promote economic efficiency and equity. Sowell starts by discussing the potential effects of taxation on economic growth, such as the potential to reduce investment and entrepreneurship. He also explores the potential effects of government spending, such as the potential to increase aggregate demand and promote economic growth. Sowell then discusses the potential policies that can be used to promote economic efficiency and equity, such as progressive taxation and targeted government spending. He explains that such policies can promote greater equity and reduce social inequality, but that they can also create unintended consequences, such as reduced incentives for work and investment. Sowell also discusses the potential drawbacks of government intervention in the economy, such as the potential for government failure and unintended consequences. He emphasizes the importance of balancing the benefits and drawbacks of government intervention and understanding the potential effects of policy decisions on the economy. Finally, Sowell explores the potential for taxation and government spending to impact economic growth and promote sustainability. He argues that a balanced approach, taking into account both short-term and long-term effects, is necessary for effective policy decisions. Overall, the ninth chapter of Basic Economics provides a clear and comprehensive analysis of taxation and government spending and the potential impact of government policy on the economy. Sowell emphasizes the importance of understanding the potential benefits and drawbacks of government intervention and the potential unintended consequences of policy decisions. Chapter 10, Labor Markets, Wages, Unemployment, and Unions. In the 10th chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell explores the topic of labor markets and the factors that determine wages, unemployment, and the role of unions. He explains the potential effects of government intervention in the labor market and the potential policies that can be used to promote economic efficiency and equity. Sowell starts by discussing the factors that determine wages, such as productivity, education, and experience. He also explores the potential effects of minimum wage laws and other forms of government intervention in the labor market, such as the potential to increase wages and reduce poverty, as well as the potential unintended consequences, such as increased unemployment and reduced economic growth. Sowell then discusses the factors that contribute to unemployment, such as changes in demand for labor, changes in technology, and government policies. He also explores the potential policies that can be used to address unemployment, such as job training programs and unemployment insurance. Sowell also explores the role of unions in the labor market and the potential effects of unionization on wages, productivity, and economic efficiency. He explains that while unions can promote greater bargaining power and increase wages for their members, they can also create inefficiencies and reduce economic growth. Finally, Sowell discusses the potential policies that can be used to promote economic efficiency and equity in the labor market, such as targeted training programs and tax credits for low-income workers. He emphasizes the importance of balancing the benefits and drawbacks of government intervention and understanding the potential effects of policy decisions on the economy. Overall, the 10th chapter of Basic Economics provides a clear and comprehensive analysis of labor markets and the factors that determine wages, unemployment, and the role of unions. Sowell emphasizes the importance of understanding the potential effects of government intervention in the labor market and the potential policies that can be used to promote economic efficiency and equity. Chapter 11, Economic Inequality, Causes and Consequences. In the 11th chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell explores the topic of economic inequality and the factors that contribute to differences in income and wealth. He explains the potential effects of economic inequality on the economy, as well as the potential policies that can be used to address it. Sowell starts by defining economic inequality and explaining the factors that contribute to differences in income and wealth, such as differences in productivity, education, and experience. He also explores the potential effects of economic inequality on social mobility, political power, and the potential for social unrest. Sowell then discusses the potential policies that can be used to address economic inequality, such as progressive taxation and social welfare programs. He explains that such policies can promote greater equity and reduce social inequality, but that they can also create unintended consequences, such as reduced incentives for work and investment. Sowell also discusses the potential drawbacks of government intervention in addressing economic inequality, such as the potential for government failure and unintended consequences. He emphasizes the importance of balancing the benefits and drawbacks of government intervention and understanding the potential effects of policy decisions on the economy. Finally, Sowell explores the potential for economic growth and innovation to address economic inequality and promote greater equity. He argues that a balanced approach, taking into account both short-term and long-term effects, is necessary for effective policy decisions. Overall, the 11th chapter of Basic Economics provides a clear and comprehensive analysis of economic inequality and the potential policies that can be used to address it. Sowell emphasizes the importance of understanding the potential effects of economic inequality on the economy and the potential unintended consequences of policy decisions. Chapter 12, Economic Systems, Capitalism, Socialism, and Mixed Economies. In the 12th chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell explores the topic of economic systems and the differences between capitalism, socialism, and mixed economies. He explains the potential benefits and drawbacks of each system, as well as the potential policies that can be used to address their respective challenges. Sowell starts by defining capitalism as a system based on private property, free markets, and individual choice, and socialism as a system based on collective ownership, central planning, and government control. He also explores the potential benefits and drawbacks of each system, such as the potential for economic growth and innovation in capitalism, and the potential for greater equity and social justice in socialism. Sowell then discusses the potential policies that can be used to address the challenges of each system, such as the potential for government intervention to address market failures in capitalism, and the potential for market mechanisms to promote efficiency and innovation in socialism. Finally, Sowell explores the potential for mixed economies, which combine elements of both capitalism and socialism to address the challenges of both systems. He argues that a balanced approach, taking into account the benefits and drawbacks of each system, is necessary for effective policy decisions. Overall, the 12th chapter of Basic Economics provides a clear and comprehensive analysis of economic systems and the differences between capitalism, socialism, and mixed economies. Sowell emphasizes the importance of understanding the potential benefits and drawbacks of each system and the potential policies that can be used to address their respective challenges. Chapter 13, Economic Development, the Role of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. In the 13th chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell explores the topic of economic development and the role of entrepreneurship and innovation in promoting economic growth and development. He explains the potential benefits and drawbacks of government intervention in promoting economic development, as well as the potential policies that can be used to promote entrepreneurship and innovation. Sowell starts by defining economic development as a process of sustained economic growth and increased economic well-being. He explains that economic development requires investment in physical capital, human capital, and technological innovation, as well as supportive government policies. Sowell then discusses the potential role of entrepreneurship and innovation in promoting economic development and the potential policies that can be used to support them, such as intellectual property rights and targeted research and development funding. Sowell also explores the potential benefits and drawbacks of government intervention in promoting economic development, such as the potential for government failure and unintended consequences. He emphasizes the importance of balancing the benefits and drawbacks of government intervention and understanding the potential effects of policy decisions on the economy. Finally, Sowell discusses the potential for economic development to promote greater equity and reduce social inequality. He argues that a balanced approach, taking into account both short-term and long-term effects, is necessary for effective policy decisions. Overall, the 13th chapter of Basic Economics provides a clear and comprehensive analysis of economic development and the role of entrepreneurship and innovation in promoting economic growth and development. Sowell emphasizes the importance of understanding the potential benefits and drawbacks of government intervention in promoting economic development and the potential policies that can be used to support entrepreneurship and innovation. Chapter 14, Environmental Economics, Balancing Growth and Sustainability. In the 14th chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell explores the topic of environmental economics and the potential trade-offs between economic growth and environmental sustainability. He explains the potential policies that can be used to promote environmental sustainability as well as the potential unintended consequences of such policies. Sowell starts by discussing the potential effects of economic growth on the environment, such as increased pollution and resource depletion. He also explores the potential trade-offs between economic growth and environmental sustainability, such as the potential for environmental policies to reduce economic growth and investment. Sowell then discusses the potential policies that can be used to promote environmental sustainability, such as environmental regulations and emissions trading schemes. He explains that such policies can promote greater environmental sustainability, but that they can also create unintended consequences, such as reduced economic growth and investment. Sowell also explores the potential role of technological innovation in promoting environmental sustainability, such as the potential for green technologies to reduce pollution and resource depletion. He argues that a balanced approach, taking into account the potential trade-offs between economic growth and environmental sustainability, is necessary for effective policy decisions. Finally, Sowell discusses the potential for government intervention to promote environmental sustainability, such as the potential for market-based approaches to reduce pollution and promote investment in green technologies. He emphasizes the importance of balancing the benefits and drawbacks of government intervention and understanding the potential effects of policy decisions on the economy. Overall, the 14th chapter of Basic Economics provides a clear and comprehensive analysis of environmental economics and the potential trade-offs between economic growth and environmental sustainability. Sowell emphasizes the importance of understanding the potential unintended consequences of environmental policies and the potential policies that can be used to promote greater environmental sustainability. Chapter 15, Applying Economic Principles to Everyday Life, Personal Finance and Investing. In the final chapter of Basic Economics, Sowell explores the topic of personal finance and investing and the potential applications of economic principles to everyday life. He explains the potential benefits of understanding economic principles for personal financial decision-making, as well as the potential pitfalls and challenges. Sowell starts by discussing the potential benefits of understanding economic principles for personal financial decision-making, such as the potential to make informed decisions about saving, investing, and borrowing. He also explores the potential challenges and pitfalls, such as the potential for economic uncertainty and market volatility to impact personal financial decisions. Sowell then discusses the potential policies and strategies that can be used to promote personal financial well-being, such as saving for retirement and investing in diversified portfolios. He emphasizes the importance of balancing risk and reward and understanding the potential effects of economic trends and market conditions on personal financial decisions. Finally, Sowell explores the potential applications of economic principles to other aspects of everyday life, such as decision-making in healthcare and education. He argues that a basic understanding of economic principles can be useful in making informed decisions in a variety of contexts and in promoting greater economic well-being and sustainability. The final chapter of Basic Economics provides a clear and comprehensive analysis of the potential applications of economic principles to personal finance and investing and to other aspects of everyday life. Sowell emphasizes the importance of understanding the potential benefits and pitfalls of economic decision-making and the potential policies and strategies that can be used to promote greater economic well-being and sustainability.